Yeah, yeah, I know, but come on, you promised to put him in the movie, and he's pacing around here. He's sweating. He's juggling his lightsaber. He's pacing back and forth. I can't get any rest. I'm just because you just give him a call, give him a date, so he can so you have some hope. Come on, he really wants to be in the movie. I mean, it's you're rebooting. You continue on the greatest saga possibly in movie history, and you promised that you would put him in there, and he's getting a little nervous, because time is it's already October already, and he's wondering when you're going to call over to shoot his part. He's driving me crazy. Um, well, you know what? Hold. I gotta do something. No, I'll call you right back. Okay, I'm in the middle of doing something. I gotta do this for my channel, and then I'll call you right back. But please, you gotta think about this. Hold on, I'll call you back in give me about 15, 20 minutes. So I'll call you back. Sorry, that's unprofessional of me. I'm taking care of a little personal business here. But anyway, welcome to Trepacer Saturday Reviews, episode 86, I believe. I went to see two movies today, Dracula Untold and The Judge. Okay, so we'll start with Dracula Untold. That's the first movie I saw this morning. There you go, Dracula Untold. A little full disclosure thing. I could have sworn it was supposed to start at 11 o'clock, and I got downtown, and when I got ready to buy a ticket for Dracula Untold, they said no. I said, can I get the 11 o'clock showing? He said, no, there's no 11 o'clock showing. There's 10 o'clock, and then there's 10:30. So she said it just started 3 minutes ago, so I kind of missed a little bit of the beginning of Dracula Untold, but I got the gist of the movie, and it's basically trying to tell you this, the untold story of Dracula, of Vlad the Impaler. Basically, they kind of explain it away that he was, of course, a young boy, and his father basically, gave he went away as a young boy to fight for the Turks, and they taught him basically how to, be a fighter, and that's where he gained his reputation as being Vlad the Impaler. When he fought, he impaled his victims, and that way, he built up such a reputation that, he was a great warrior. Okay, so he returns home, okay, to his wife and young son, okay, and to his kingdom, and hopefully, peace, and he wants nothing more to do with war, and just wants to live with his people in peace. But of course, the Turks, the Sultan decides that he wants, for his new army, he wants 1,000 boys, including his son, okay, to fight, for the Sultan, his new army. Of course, he doesn't want to do that. He doesn't want to go away. His wife, his pleading and said, no, we don't want to do it with my son. And you can tell, he's close to his family, and he tells us, and he doesn't really want to do this. But anyway, I think this is where I came in the movie, and I think I came at the tail end of when Dracula, apparently him and his men, two men, they were attacked by this creature in the mountains. And when I came in the movie, you saw Dracula, or Vlad, explain to a priest in a monastery that he came upon this creature, and the priest kind of explains to him about this creature was a man once who made a deal with a demon, and the demon turned him into a monster, and he's trapped in this cave in these mountains, okay, waiting until somebody else comes along to take his place. So basically, like I said, he's trying to find a way to to help his people, okay, and like you see in the trailer, you see when they come for his son, first he tries to bargain with the Sultan, who actually he fought with as a young kid, but the Sultan's not having of it. In fact, the Sultan even declares, like I said, that he wants his son to fight at his side. Of course, when they come for his son, his wife is, of course, protesting, and they pull her away, and then his son said, I'll go, and then you see in the trailer, the father tells his son to turn and run, and don't run, and he destroys the Sultan men. But of course, that's not going to stop the Sultan from sending more men, because they have no army. The Transylvanians, they don't have any army. So what he decides to do, he decides to go visit this creature in the mountains and see if he can, seek a way, like I said, like he sees in the trailer, seek a way to help his people. And of course, this creature played by Charles Dance, who's this vampire, or vampire as they call him in this movie. He tells him, to drink this blood, and then he'll say you're gonna have all power over creatures in the night and all that stuff, and you'll have strength, but it'll only last 3 days, okay? And then after that, you'll be immortal again. But if you drink, you tell him you'll develop the thirst, but and if you drink, before those 3 days are over, then you're gonna be permanently, this creature, and you're gonna free him because you're gonna take its place, okay? And of course, he has no choice, so he drinks, and then he says, "What's next?" He said, "Of course, you die." And then, of course, he wakes up, and he has these vampire-like powers. And of course, like you see in the trailer, his wife notices the changes, and there's a great scene in the beginning where after the first night that he comes back, where the Turks are basically, attacking the castle, where he basically goes down there with his new vampire powers and just obliterates all the men on the field, and some leave, some don't, and basically, like I say, he impales all of them, okay? And of course, his wife notices the changes, and of course, and he explains what he did, what he did for his people and stuff. And then, of course, the Turks, they decide to, of course, take the people in the castle and head toward the monastery, because they figure the monastery, I think the reason they give is, they head towards the monastery with the remaining people, okay? And of course, the Turks are hot on their heels, and of course, like I said, he's battling and and beating, and of course, they find out exactly who, like you see in the trailer, they find out exactly what he is, that he's this creature. He's become this creature, and of course, they, like you see in the trailer, they kind of turn on him, okay? And let me just say, I really enjoyed this movie. Luke Evans, I thought, was great as Vlad the Impaler. You really felt for him because he's just this noble guy who wants to do right for his people. And he even explains to his son how, when he went away as a young boy, he did it to please his father, okay? And he doesn't want that for his son, okay? He doesn't want his son to have to become a warrior in no war. He just wants to live in peace. And he's really, really, does a great job as, the lead and stuff, and you can see his struggle and stuff, to become, to save his people, and then of course he has to become what he doesn't want to become, and it's a really, I don't want to spoil what happens towards the end of the movie, but I think you can pretty much figure it out, okay, from the title, but it's a really good movie, and the only, I guess, downside to this movie, I guess, is the Sultan played by Dominic Cooper. You don't really get much backstory on him. You know that they fought together, and they were raised together, because they even mention it when he goes to see him the first time after he makes the request of 1,000 boys for his army. They kind of talk a little bit about how they used to, grow up in the castle, and that could have been part of the scene that I didn't see before I saw the movie. So that could have been, in that part that I missed in the beginning of the movie. I guess they could have showed that part. But anyway, Luke Evans, I thought, was fantastic as Vlad the Impaler, exactly, a man trying to save his people and do the right, and he has to tap into go to this dark place, to get the power enough to save his people, from, being slaughtered and stuff and having their sons taken. And he really conveys that sense of, of decency, and of course he has to become this evil thing to stop, stop one evil thing. He has to become another evil thing, and it's really good. And I like Sarah Gadon, that's her name. She plays his wife. I thought she was really good too. And the young actor who plays his son I thought he was really good as well. Like I said, Dominic Cooper, like I said, his part is kind of small. I mean, he's a Sultan, kind of the main bad guy, but you don't get that much backstory on him. That's the only kind of negative. You don't get that much backstory. But then again, the movie's like 92 minutes, so it moves when it moves, but it doesn't delve too much into the backstory of certain other characters and stuff. But I thought Luke Evans was great as Vlad, or Dracula Untold, and I like this interpretation of Dracula story. It really, I thought, was really entertaining and really good. Good special effects, and I know it's PG-13, right? But it still doesn't matter. It still was pretty good. Yeah, still a lot of blood and guts and good destruction and stuff, and I really, really liked it. So I'm gonna give Dracula Untold, I'm gonna give it an 8, because I really liked it. I saw an International Movie Database to give it a 5.9. I don't know what movie they were seeing giving it a 5.9. I thought this movie was highly entertaining. I thought Luke Evans was fantastic as Vlad the Impaler, and I love the fight scenes in this. And it was just another interpretation of the Dracula story, which I really liked, and you really felt for his character. So 8 out of 10 for me. Okay, now the next movie I saw, of course, was The Judge, starring Robert Duvall and Robert Downey Jr. Okay, there we go. The Judge. There you go. I just thought Robert Downey Jr.'s character, he's a big city lawyer, Hank Palmer, that you see in the trailer. Who, he's a top lawyer in the city, and he always represents the highest paying clients and stuff. But his personal life's kind of falling apart. His wife is cheated on him, and he's in the midst of divorcing her when he gets a phone call from his brother saying that their mother died. So he has to go down there for the funeral. Okay, and his father is the judge, the local judge in the town, Indiana. I forgot the town name, but it's in Indiana. Okay, and of course he doesn't really want to go back because he's estranged from his father. Like you see in the trailer, he explains to his young daughter that that his father is sort of dead to me. He says Grandpa Palmer is dead to me. Now he's not dead. That's just he explains it to his daughter. That he's dead to him, meaning that he hasn't really talked to him in a long time, and he has bitter feelings about his father. Okay, and he goes back to his hometown where his older brother and his younger brother live. Now the younger brother is sort of mentally challenged, and the older brother, he runs a local garage down there, and he goes down there for the funeral. He runs into his old ex-girlfriend, played by Vera Farmiga. Okay, she plays Samantha Powell. Okay, and like I said, you can tell from their interaction. Robert Duvall, who plays Joseph Palmer, the judge, they have a kind of real strained relationship. Okay, for various reasons. Okay, and he comes for the funeral, and he has no intention of staying longer than he has to. He's all set to go back. He's actually even on the plane when he gets another phone call from his brother, again saying that his father's been arrested, by the sheriff. Oh yeah, the older brother is played by Vincent D'Onofrio. He plays Glenn Palmer, and Jeremy Strong plays Dale Palmer, the younger brother, who's, like I said, mentally challenged. Okay, and like I said, he heads back because his father's been accused of killing a man he's sentenced before, and a man who just got out of jail, and his car has been damaged, and he's been sentenced. He's been suspected of killing this young man that got out of prison that he's sentenced to 20 years in jail before. So, based on the evidence, they think that he ran over this individual. Of course, and Robert Downey Jr. At first he doesn't. His character Hank Palmer doesn't defend him. He's kind of just observing. Okay, but he realizes that the young lawyer that his father has, C.P. Kennedy, played by Dax Shepard, is really naive and doesn't really know what he's doing. So much in fact that he throws up every time before he goes to court. And so he finally decides to take over the case. And like I said, this movie is it's a really good drama. Robert Downey Jr. and Robert Duvall it's great to see them acting in the same movie and against each other. They're really, really strong performances. And like I said, there's a whole history of resentment of why Robert Downey Jr.'s character of Hank Palmer doesn't particularly like his father, doesn't like that town. Okay, there's a history that I don't want to spoil, but he has his reasons why he resents his father. Okay, and it kind of plays into the plot later on, so I don't want to spoil that. But to see them clashing against each other is really great acting, great drama to watch. And like I said, Vincent D'Onofrio plays the older brother, who actually was a baseball star when he was younger and got into an accident, so he had to kind of stay behind. And like I said, he also takes care of his younger brother, Dale Palmer, played by Jeremy Strong, who's, like I said, mentally challenged, and he's always filming. That's his little thing. He films the family, films little movies that they're growing up and stuff. Okay, and like I said, Vera Farmiga is an old high school sweetheart that he kind of left behind when he left the town, never looking back. She plays Samantha Powell. Okay, and like I said, there's a whole history of resentment between the two of them, Robert Downey Jr.'s character and Robert Duvall's character. And like I said, they have a whole history. And like I said, he has to try to save his father. Like you see in the trailer, he believes in it. He can't stand his father for for certain reasons, which I don't want to spoil. But he knows that his father's not a murderer. Okay, which is why he has to stick around and defend him. And he even brings his young daughter there for a visit to meet the grandfather and stuff and the rest of the family. And this is a really good drama. And I think, like I said, great performances by Robert Downey Jr. and Robert Duvall. Okay, the only kind of flaws, and also what's his called Billy Bob Thornton's in this. He plays a prosecuting attorney who's prosecuting Robert Duvall's character in the movie, and he's quite good in his limited part. It's not a big part, but he's really good in his limited part. But my only negatives to this film is that it's about 2 hours and 21 minutes long, and okay, I think they could have definitely cut out 20 minutes of this movie. Okay, even though you get the good acting from Robert Downey Jr. and Robert Duvall, but they could have cut like 20 minutes off this movie and make it just under 2 hours. 2 hours and 21 minutes was just a little bit too long. Okay, and another thing that I not particularly didn't care for, but Robert Downey Jr.'s character and Vincent D'Onofrio, who plays the older brother, I really wanted those two characters to have a kind of lengthy conversation. If you see the movie, you know the dynamics of their relationship and why I wanted those two characters to have a moment where they would actually talk to each other, because there had to be some kind of resentment there, which I don't want to spoil the reason why, but there had to be that, and it wasn't addressed at all in the movie, so I think that was kind of a negative. They didn't address that part, since especially, you use up all this time. I mean, they did concentrate, again, primarily, I guess, on Robert Downey Jr. and Robert Duvall's relationship, or non-relationship, as it were, okay, and the clash between them. And it's a good drama, okay? It's a really entertaining movie, definitely powerhouse acting from those two, and I wouldn't be surprised if Robert Duvall got nominated for Academy Award or something. I thought Robert Downey Jr. is his usual great self, but I think Robert Duvall might get nominated, for this movie. Okay, like I said, the movie has, like I said, it's a few flaws. Like I said, it's too long, I think. That's for one. And again, I wanted the two brothers to have an honest conversation. Okay, and then also, I think Jeremy Strong's character being the slow brother, that's kind of, sometimes now it's getting to be a cliche, almost. You have one character that's, kind of mentally slow, who, inevitably says words of wisdom or something, but that's a minor thing to me. The actor, Jeremy Strong, was pretty good in this role. Sometimes I think they kind of, rely on that too much, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway, so I'm going to give the Judge, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Okay, like I said, I would have definitely given it a 9 if maybe they cut down some of the time of the movie, and maybe, like I said, even Vera Farmiga's character, and Vera Farmiga I love because she's on the Bates Motel and she's a good actress, but her, again, the girl that got left behind and stuff, that part is a little stereotypical again, but the power, the good acting by Robert Duvall and Robert Downey Jr. to me saved the movie and made the movie for me. Anyway, again, 8 out of 10 for me for The Judge. Definitely worth seeing. Okay, like I said, a little bit too long, but it's still entertaining and worth seeing, just to see Robert Downey Jr. and Robert Duvall act against each other, which is fantastic. Anyway, that's my reviews of those two movies. Again, Dracula Untold, I really liked it. I really liked this interpretation of it. Okay, it's 92 minutes, so it moves and it doesn't. And I thought Luke Evans was a great Dracula, and I really was entertained by it. 8 out of 10 for me. And The Judge, I thought was entertaining too. A little bit too long, maybe, but entertaining nonetheless. And great acting by Robert Downey Jr. and Robert Duvall against each other. Okay, good supporting work from Billy Bob Thornton, I think, and even Vincent D'Onofrio and Vera Farmiga. So, but like I said, a little bit too long, and about an 8 out of 10 for me too for that. Okay. Anyway, that's my review. Let me know what you think. Feel free to leave comments down below. If you like this review, please hit the subscribe button down below, and I gotta make a phone call, and I'll be seeing you soon. Okay, yeah. Like I said, I was saying, you got to give this guy some hope. You got to give him something, because if he doesn't, I'm afraid what he's going to do. like I say, he's constantly in my behind, looking for validation. He's driving me crazy because he thinks he's going to go out and make his part. You promised him, you got to come through. Okay, I'm kind of trying to wrap this up and try to keep this quiet because if he hears that I'm talking about it, he's going to come. He's going to make an appearance, and that's a whole other ball of wax, and I have to calm him down. And I don't want to do that. Oh God! Oh, there we go. Please, Doc. Please.